Welcome back to the Investor's Library. In this deep dive, we're going to crack open the pages of must-read books so we can hand you the most valuable insights. And the best part? No dusty shelves required. Today, we're going back in time to ancient Babylon, using George Clason's The Richest Man in Babylon as our guide. It's kind of like a crash course in personal finance, but with wisdom that's literally thousands of years old.
It really is amazing how relevant these ancient principles still are. Even though the world has changed dramatically, the fundamentals of building wealth, well, they haven't changed at all.
Right. It's like we're cracking open this time capsule, and it's full of financial advice. And that's what makes The Richest Man in Babylon so fascinating. He uses parables, these engaging stories, to teach these timeless lessons about money.
Exactly. And one of the key takeaways is that money is plentiful for those who understand the simple laws which govern its acquisition. It's not about luck. It's not about being born into wealth. It's about understanding the rules of the game.
Yeah, and those rules, those are what we're going to explore today. The book lays out what it calls the 5 laws of gold, and they're presented through the story of Nomasir. He is the son of Arkad, the richest man in Babylon.
I know Masir's story. It's a cautionary tale, but it's also a story of redemption. He starts out with every advantage. His father gives him a bag of gold to make his own fortune, but instead of carefully investing it, he falls prey to these common pitfalls. Gambling, trusting bad advice, and getting involved in risky ventures.
Oh, it's like watching someone who wins the lottery and then blows it all on impulsive decisions.
Yeah, it's a classic example of what not to do. Nomasir learns the hard way that wealth, if it's not managed wisely, it can disappear just as quickly as it came.
So he goes from this life of privilege to being flat broke and then have to work as a laborer. I'll go to a reality check.
Oh, yeah.
But thankfully, that's not where his story ends. There's this turning point when he starts working for a slave master who actually has a pretty good grasp of finances.
It is a bit ironic, isn't it? A slave master teaching financial wisdom, but it highlights the idea that you can find these valuable lessons in very unexpected places. Nomasir. He starts to understand the power of saving, the importance of delaying gratification, and the need to seek advice from people who have proven themselves.
I like that. And that shift in mindset leads him to rediscover the 5 laws of gold that his father tried to teach him earlier. It's like these laws were always there, just waiting for him to be ready to learn them.
Yeah. It's a really powerful reminder that knowledge is only valuable if we are receptive to it.
Okay, so let's dive into these laws, starting with law number 1, pay yourself first. And we hear this a lot in personal finance advice today, but the book really drives it home. With the parable, start thy purse to fattening.
Oh, it's such a vivid image, putting those eggs in a basket and watching it fill up over time. The idea is to save at least 10% of your earnings before you even spend anything else. And this is where it gets really interesting for our modern listeners.
Okay, I'm all ears. How does this ancient wisdom apply to our lives today?
Well, think about the gig economy, freelancers, people with multiple income streams. Pay yourself first becomes even more crucial because you're responsible for your own financial safety net. It's not just about saving for retirement. It's about setting aside money for taxes, unexpected expenses, those things that traditional employment might have covered before.
So are we talking about actually setting aside physical cash? Or is this more about automating savings, through apps or direct deposits?
That's the beauty of it. The principle adapts. Back then, it was about literally putting gold aside. Today, it's about setting up systems that do it for you, whether it's an automatic transfer to a savings account, or using a budgeting app that tracks your spending and helps you hit that 10% target.
It's like having those Babylonian money management techniques right at your fingertips. So what's the next law? In this ancient financial playbook,
law number 2 is all about controlling your expenditures. It's like the ancient Babylonian version of budgeting, but with a twist. It's not just about tracking your spending. It's about understanding the difference between needs and wants.
Okay, so it's not about depriving yourself. It's about making these conscious choices.
Yeah.
About where your money goes. But how do we apply that in a world where we're constantly bombarded with these ads and temptations to spend?
Well, the book, it illustrates this beautifully with the story of Rodin the spearmaker. He receives a gift of 50 pieces of gold, which is a pretty considerable sum, and he's immediately tempted to invest it in this seemingly amazing business opportunity.
Ooh, sounds risky. Did he just jump in head first?
Thankfully, no. He seeks advice from Mustan the gold lender. who kind of becomes his mentor, and Methon helps Rodin to understand the importance of protecting his hard-earned savings from unnecessary risk. And this is a lesson that is just as relevant today as it was back then.
Especially with so many of those get-rich-quick schemes. You see them floating around the internet. It's so easy to get caught up in all the hype and then make these impulsive decisions. So how did Methon guide Rodin toward a safer path?
Well, Methon teaches him to carefully consider the potential downsides. Before just jumping into any investment, he encourages him to ask questions, to investigate, and to really understand what he's getting into.
So due diligence is key. It's not just about chasing those highest returns. It's about understanding the risks involved.
Exactly. And that leads us to law number 3, make your gold multiply. This is where the concept of investing really comes in, but it's not about blindly throwing money at something and hoping for the best. The book uses this powerful metaphor of golden slaves working for you, generating more wealth even while you sleep.
Okay, I love that imagery.
Yeah.
So in today's world, what are those golden slaves? Are we talking about stocks, bonds, real estate? Help me connect the dots.
Well, think of it as putting your money to work for you. Back then, it might have been investing in a caravan or a merchant's venture. But today, those golden slaves could be index funds, ETFs, or even real estate crowdfunding. It's about finding investment vehicles that align with your risk tolerance and your financial goals.
And this is where the magic of compound interest comes in.
Right? Absolutely. Even these small, consistent investments, when they're given time to grow, they can generate really substantial returns. It's like a snowball rolling downhill, gathering momentum as it goes.
But we need to be mindful of the risks too, right? And that brings us to law number 4. Guard your treasures from loss. Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Exactly. The book illustrates this. With Nomasir's early losses from scams and these risky ventures, it teaches us to be wary of those guaranteed returns and to diversify our investments.
So spreading your investments across different asset classes, industries, even geographical regions.
Precisely. Diversification is a key element of protecting your wealth from unnecessary risk. And you know this ties in perfectly with the importance of seeking knowledge and expertise from reliable sources.
So don't just take financial advice from anyone, especially from that random guy on social media promising you overnight riches.
Exactly. Do your research, consult with financial professionals, and make informed decisions based on solid information, not hype.
Now for the 5th and final law, make a VI dwelling a profitable investment. This one seems a little different from the others. Are we talking about buying a house to live in or as a rental property? Help us unpack this one.
This law, it speaks to the importance of homeownership as a form of security and investment. You know, owning your own home, it gives you a sense of stability, a place to put down roots, and it can be a significant source of wealth building over time.
Right, it's a tangible asset that you can control and benefit from. And even if you're not ready to buy a house right now, you can still apply this principle to saving for a down payment, understanding the mortgage process, and planning for the long term.
Exactly. It's about having a vision for the future and taking steps to achieve your home ownership goals. And you know what's fascinating? The book doesn't just stop there. It delves deeper into the story of Arcot himself. The richest man in Babylon, we learn how he rose from these humble beginnings to become this financial powerhouse.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What's his secret sauce? Was it some ancient Babylonian investment strategy?
Yeah.
That we'd never even heard of?
Actually, it's much simpler than that. Arcot's success, it wasn't based on some secret formula or some stroke of luck. It was built on these very same principles that he later shared with his son, those 5 laws of gold that we've been discussing.
So he was a living embodiment of those principles, proving that they actually work in practice, not just in theory.
Exactly. Arcot's story is a testament to the power of consistent effort, wise decision-making, and a deep understanding of the fundamentals of wealth building.
But we mostly hear about him through Nomasir's experiences. Did Arcot actually share his own secrets to success?
He did, and it's a fascinating story of hard work, determination, and a willingness to learn from his mistakes. Remember Algamish, the moneylender, who taught Nomasir the importance of pay yourself first.
Yes, the one who had Nomasir work off his debt.
Right, well, Algamish, he actually played a key role in Arcot's journey as well, you know, early in his career as a scribe. Arcot had this pivotal encounter with Algamish that set him on the path to wealth.
Oh, tell me more.
So Arcot, he was tasked with copying the 9th law for Algamish, but he missed the deadline. Knowing he was in trouble, he boldly asked Algamish, "You are a very rich man. Tell me how I may also become rich, and all night I will carve upon the clay, and when the sun rises, it shall be completed."
Wow, talk about seizing an opportunity. So did Alchemist share his wisdom.
He did, and his advice was surprisingly simple, yet profound. He said to Arcad, "A part of all you earn is yours to keep." It was like this revelation for Arcad, who had been working hard, but he hadn't been prioritizing his own financial well-being.
It's like that aha moment when a simple truth suddenly becomes crystal clear.
Exactly, Algamish. He helped Arcad realize that he had been paying everyone else, his tailor, his landlord, his suppliers, but he hadn't been paying himself. He was neglecting the most important investment of all, his own future wealth.
His future.
Right.
And from that point on, Arcad started applying the pay-yourself-first principle, setting aside a portion of his earnings.
Yeah.
And eventually built his fortune.
Precisely. It all started with that one simple but powerful piece of advice. And from there, he learned to control his expenditures. He made his gold multiply through wise investments, guarded his treasures from loss, and eventually became the richest man in Babylon.
It's incredible to think that the foundation of his wealth was built on those same 5 laws of gold we've been discussing.
It shows that these principles aren't just theoretical concepts. They're practical tools that can lead to real-world financial success.
It's a powerful reminder that financial success isn't about luck or circumstance. It's about making conscious choices and developing these sound financial habits. It's about understanding that the fundamentals of building wealth haven't changed all that much, even after thousands of years.
Absolutely. And while The Richest Man in Babylon, it doesn't really delve into, the intricacies of modern investment strategies or the complexities of the global financial markets. It provides this timeless framework, a set of these core principles that can guide us on our own financial journeys.
It's like having a wise old Babylonian mentor, whispering financial wisdom in our ears.
I like that. And the best part is that these principles, they're accessible to everyone, regardless of their income level or background. Whether you're just starting out or you're a seasoned investor, the 5 laws of gold, they offer a roadmap to financial well-being.
So it's not about memorizing these complicated formulas or mastering technical jargon. It's about embracing these time-tested principles and making them a part of our financial DNA.
Exactly. And that's why this book continues to resonate with readers today. It cuts through all the noise and gets to the heart of what truly matters, making wise choices with our money and building a life of financial security and abundance.
This has been such an insightful deep dive into the richest man in Babylon. We've journeyed through the bustling marketplaces and the grand palaces of ancient Babylon. And through it all, those 5 laws of gold have been our constant guide.
And we've seen how these ancient principles can be applied to our modern lives, whether we're dealing with student loans, saving for a down payment, or planning for retirement.
So to our listeners, we hope you found this episode valuable and that you'll consider adding The Richest Man in Babylon to your own investor's library. It's a book that can really change your perspective on money and empower you to take control of your financial future.
It's been a pleasure exploring this timeless classic with you.
And with you, dear listener. Until next time, happy investing.